Can you hear and speak now, April?
It's time.
Mm-hmm.
Is everyone ready?
Can't see myself. Yeah.
Oh, you there. There. How about that?
Okay. This is WVOL, Berry Hill, Nashville. The views of the following show are those of the host and the host only, and not those of Heidelberg Broadcasting, its ownership, or management.
Good evening or afternoon. Welcome back to the Nashville Housing First Responders, where lived experience leads and the truth doesn't wait for permission. Where your hosts are myself, Kenita, the homeless CEO Patterson, April Burns Norris, the People's Advocate of Community Bridges Incorporated, and also Miss Charzetta Hall of I Have a Testimony. She's the creator and executive producer. And bringing us in, I want to see if we got Miss April here. I see her on the screen. I don't know if she might want to just text us in the chat. She might be trying to come back, but she's with us online on the platform where we're live on Facebook and YouTube. So she'll be back, and I'll go ahead and do some. I'll let Miss Charles if she would like to, because I always go into a spiel.
First of all, I thank you and April for letting me be a part of the show and having me to come on. I appreciate that. I'm just blessed to be here, and I'm sure that the conversation today is going to be a good one. But what I always like to do is do shout outs to the sick and shut in, those in the hospital, the nursing home, the system, runaway missing children, missing people. And I like to think about those that are incarcerated and those that's going through bereavement. I'm praying that you have a wonderful day today, a wonderful evening, a wonderful night. And remember to always hold on. Don't you ever give up. Just hang in there. Even when it seems like there's no way out, there's always a way out. We are to live, but to live the best way possible and not let evil take over us. If you take the word live and you turn it around, it says evil. Let us live for good. And the same thing, I knew this as a child. You take the word dog, you turn it around, and it means God. And we know that that is the supreme.
Wow.
So I'm grateful today. And once again, thank you for letting me be on the show.
Awesome. That's why we got you here, Miss Charzetta, because the wisdom, she always come with some kind of jewel that sticks with me. So we appreciate you, Miss Charzetta. That was a whole word. Just reverse your words is what she's saying. Reverse them to be positive.
Yeah.
And that's gonna carry with me all week. And it actually flows right into what we're talking about. And Miss April is gonna join us from the comments, and we'll be looking out for whatever she has to input. And I know we have like some different things like the intro and all that will come in at some point and be ready coming up. So just want to let you guys know that, because we have a great friend that has allowed us to play her song before the show. So just want to acknowledge that. And also send a bunch of thank yous out to the community. I'll get into that once I get into this kind of reflection. I always do some type of reflection. And it used to be Monday's motivation on I have a testimony, but always gonna come with something motivational.
Right.
And go from there. So it's this episode, and often our episodes may reflect as personal, but on the contrary, our own truth is always folded in the mist. It's about leadership, reflection, and the quiet ways systems try to silence those who speak too clearly. I had a meeting recently, one of those moments that stirs something good and deep. The reflection offered to me was this: find yourself as a leader and lean more into self-interest. And that, oh, it resonated with me deeply. When you think you have arrived and that you
Mhm.
are a leader, I want to say that line resonated with me past imposter syndrome, because I do know who I am. So I don't have to worry about, any mask or anything like that. So
Right.
beyond that, you don't ever think about beyond, self reflection. Even when you think you are in a certain place, you could always be learning and growing.
Uh-huh.
And so I'll be honest, it touched a good nerve. And you didn't know those existed, did you? Good
That's what that's
nerves.
about.
So, not in a bad way, in a discovery way, because I do know myself, like I said, and I know who I am. I know what I stand for, what I'm purposed to be. I just got through talking about it on Miss Jenny Calhoun's series, her podcast series, How to Heal. And I was telling my story about how just before birth, even I wonder what attacks I went through because of how life went, even in my youth.
Right.
And so ultimately, what I said is the enemy does not come for vaults that are empty. And so that's very much so true. But there's a contradiction. While I'm being asked to reflect and evolve, I'm also noticing the attempts to shush me and myself, with others too, to quiet our voices, is what I'm going to say, to make us smaller. And that's not an option. Um, or the ones that I want to see develop as leaders themselves deeper than they already are. And we also want to be a safe space for people. So let me be clear. I and we will not be shushed in a community and wide solidarity. My leadership is rooted in lived experience. It's not performative. It's not size. It's real. And that makes people uncomfortable, especially in systems that prefer control over truth.
That's right.
But discomfort is not my enemy. It's my signal. It tells me I'm doing the work that matters. So today I want to speak directly to those who feel unheard, undervalued, or dismissed. You are not confused. You are not too loud. You are not too much. You are clear. You are powerful. You deserve to be compensated, respected, and included, not just in name, but in structure. We're not just asking for a seat at the table, we're rebuilding a new one, irregardless of insertion of whatever bureaucracy the world gives. So, to those who try to silence lived experts, we see you, and we're not going anywhere. So, that is our
Oh, that
reflection
is really,
and
really.
motivation for this
Oh
morning.
my goodness, that is so
So,
powerful.
yes, that has been sitting on me. I was and Miss April, I don't know if I can answer her, but I've been thinking about that since really Sunday in church. The subject was mental health and how, in the world, especially in the word, you're going to see a lot of what's going on in Revelations that's happening now. So I've been hearing about plagues. We have seen the weather go berserks. And then you hear about different things with mothers, daughters, sons, fathers, whatever the case may be within family and friends. Like you hear suicide, murder, that spirit where it's that double. A lot of them just really happened recently out East Nashville, I noticed, in that region. So when we're dealing with those things, it can become a regional thing that's in our areas. So just being aware of what's going on surrounding you, and just being able to go forth out of what we know. That's why it's a blessing to read those passages, because it lets you know what we're walking into right now. And I call it footprints in the sand. My grandfather used to have that plaque up, and it resonates with me so
And I
much now.
still got that plaque.
Yes, ma'am. That one is an old school one that you probably can't find now,
It's
but
hard.
it was very valuable to see coming up, and um be able to have that built into you as a child, and now to know what it actually means, walking in his footsteps. So I know you got anything to kind of comment behind that, Miss Charzetta.
Yes, I
But
love the fact that about the silence I'm realizing that over the years, people are waking up. They're waking up, you know, the shades are coming off, the masks
Mm-hmm.
are coming off of people's
Wow.
faces, the eyes are being opened.
Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
we live in a world that's full of lies, and big lies was told to us.
Yes.
But we're waking up. We're in a generation
Yes, ma'am. That's
that
huge.
people are waking up to the truth and what's really
Mm-hmm.
going on in the world, and remembering who you are and who
Mm-hmm.
you belong, who you are to do what you do. So I do agree with that.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's powerful. It's very, did you write that?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow, that is so, that should
I
also go in your book that you write. Because
Yes,
that
I was
is
thinking
so
about that too
powerful.
because out of the pain and the suffering that as a leader I
Mhm.
go through, and I have been very, I think, graceful and
Mhm.
merciful about the situation.
Right.
I've stayed quiet about it in the
Mhm.
background, and I've tried to resolve in the background as well. But now I'm speaking up and out, and people still want you to be quiet about it. But I've been reflecting on it and standing back and not taking that first reaction like I would have normally done.
Right.
Um, and it's something our pastor taught us about a long time ago called eyes wide shut.
Mhm.
And that's people that are, and I think about it like the valley of the dry bones.
Oh, yeah.
And you hear about it in Psalms 23. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil.
Uh,
So just all those things come back to your
it
remembrance
does. It does.
when you have been, studying the word, and
Mhm.
it feels like you studied it in training, but
Mhm.
then you have to walk that training out to have it written on your heart.
Yes, that's true.
And I feel like that also passes along to other people as
It
well.
does. And especially if you're under where you can be teach.
Yes,
Pastor
that
duty is
talk.
most definitely
Yes.
teaching. So I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, and when you say teaching,
Mhm.
I know every single thing that has come, she told us for many years that something big was coming,
Mhm.
and many big things have happened, but and this is not even the scratching the
Right,
surface of
right.
all the things,
Mhm.
and just being under her tutelage is amazing to grow. And it's been what 20 years for us solid.
Oh, okay.
The 20 years that she just celebrated, we've been there since my 19.
Wow.
No, she's about to be 20 this year.
Yeah.
She was 4 months old when we got to the church. So
What?
so that's how long, and I could totally see my transformation in where I was not sure who I was. And about I'd say about age 24, that's where I was with that, and being delivered and shaped into who God was making me
Mhm.
into. To now, when we talk about reverse the word, right?
Right.
Now 42. What's that? The reverse of
Mhm.
24.
Yeah.
So, I just caught that, and wasn't even, I just stay open for what message God has, and
That's true.
I always pray before, and I pray before this to God, just guide the conversation,
That's right.
the way you want it to go,
Yeah.
and just taking us out and letting
Right.
Him do His kingdom work is what
And
it's
that's
all
it,
about.
letting him do the kingdom
Yep.
work. And the thing that I liked about Pastor Judy,
Mm-hmm.
when she was with, I have a testimony, it was like, now we're going to open up with prayer.
Yes.
She always said, we're going to open up with prayer, and we're
Yes,
going
ma'am.
to end with prayer.
Yes, ma'am.
And that is so needed in today.
That's huge.
Even though we might be praying in our heart, but
Yes.
a lot of times when you go into a conversation with other people, situations, the media and things,
Yes.
go to your prayer room.
Yes, ma'am.
Always pray. It is so important.
That's huge. Yeah, prayer first. That is, I think prayer is the tool of a warrior, deeply. And really, unless you go into it, you really don't know the depth of the power of prayer. And just the position that I am training in the church, which is intercessory prayer minister. I had to realize how much of a warrior I was and am and will be. So realizing them all kind of not simultaneously because it
Mhm.
grew over time,
Oh, yeah.
but I don't know. It comes from that mustard seed of faith.
Mhm.
And then, if anybody knows the research of a mustard seed,
Mhm.
it grows into a tree if you plant it,
Mhm.
and it will be what I call mighty oak faith. At that
Mhm.
point, you
Mhm.
grow beyond mustard seed faith.
Mhm.
So,
And it grows and it grows.
yeah,
Yeah.
uncontained.
Mhm.
And I was hearing about different trees. That's something I love to listen to is nature.
Mhm.
And so just hearing about different trees and how they grow. It's a certain tree that only gets so high, but it ends up, I believe it's the sequoia.
Right.
And it stays small for so long, and then
Mhm.
it becomes this ginormous thing that you
Yeah.
can't even believe grew out of the ground.
Uh-huh.
So just looking at those type of things as how God will come
Nature.
and look after
Nature.
us the same.
The nature, look in
Mhm.
the palms of your hands, got these little things look like tree limbs sometimes.
Yep.
We got to be planted. We gotta
Yes,
be planted.
ma'am. Those are roots, and I've heard even that they're maps. So
Mhm.
it's no telling what,
Mhm.
especially like our fingerprints.
Right.
God makes those
And
unique,
we're all different with it.
Mhm.
That's important.
like fearfully and wonderfully made.
Mhm.
So I just say all that to say that you can know who you are still and grow
Mhm.
and add into what
That's
and
right.
who you are in
Mhm.
purpose. And it might be a greater place for you to go. And like the person was posing to me, how much are you looking after self
Mhm.
and what your true interests are? And, because a lot of people have been kind of telling me how they see me a little bit everywhere, but focusing way more on my own stuff. And which, I mean, to me it all intertwines.
Yeah, of
At
course.
the end of the day, as long as we end homelessness is my
Mhm.
ultimate goal, and to be able to get people that are in poverty in some type of sustainability for themselves, no matter their age. So it all comes back to the good of the kingdom when we all work together. So I'm not the type of person that sees somebody else being built up and gets upset. I
That's
want to
right.
see other
That's
people
right.
built up and pour into other people, and
That's
vice
it.
versa as
You have
humans.
to pour
Mhm.
into other people,
Yes,
because
ma'am.
other people is going to pour into you as well.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're not going to want somebody's crown to be crooked. Help them straighten that crown up on their head for that person.
Quietly at that.
Yeah,
You
don't
don't have
worry
to.
about if
Yep.
that person is doing better than you. It's not about who's doing
It
better.
ain't.
It's about who's doing the kingdom work
Yes, ma'am.
and how far you're going with it and believing in yourself according to how we are to be as
Yes,
women.
ma'am.
We are women, So,
Yep.
and even men, it's not all just about women. Men too. There are a lot of good men out there that are struggling. But the
Yes.
good men,
That's underrated, Miss
right? They
Charzel.
are going through just like women go through. They cry
Yes.
too. They have problems. They have
Wow.
situations just like women do.
Yeah, that right
Yeah.
there. Because you know what? With that being said, Miss Charlotte, that is a huge proponent
Mhm.
of the homeless realm.
Right.
The men,
Mhm.
it is very underrated what they go through, and
Right.
people don't know about like single fathers. Then you have domestic violence with men. Um, that really is swept under the rug, and I feel like emotionally it kind of becomes a hidden thing what they go through because they don't think they can reach out. They have always been taught you can't cry or show emotions. All of that I think is false. It goes into mental health.
Yeah.
It goes into you deserve, just like I read before, you deserve to be able to move forward and be fulfilled in your kingdom purpose too.
Right.
So it is equally important what's going on with the
And
men.
understand that we all, in
Mhm.
some way or another, struggle.
Yes,
Before
ma'am.
we put a homeless person down,
Amen.
which we shouldn't,
Whew.
before we say stuff like get out and get a job, but you don't never know
You
what that
don't know.
person's situation
Yes,
is.
ma'am.
We
You
have to
don't
be
know.
careful when we put people down. You know, we all got feelings and emotion.
Mm-hmm.
There are people that have been on that job for 20 and 30 years, and they put so much into this business, and they go on one day and told the business has folded or you're fired,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't know that person's situation at home. It could have been they was going from paycheck to paycheck, and then when you
Yeah.
lose that paycheck, and
People don't know.
you got a house note maybe $2,000 or $3,000. Well, at the time you could afford it, but
Yeah.
once you lost that job, you can't afford it
One
anymore.
step away.
It's just one step away. So
Yep.
we need to
Anybody.
be careful, and that's why a lot of times
That's
people
true.
snap.
Mm-hmm.
They lose their mind.
I tell
Everybody's
you
not
what.
grounded in the word.
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody don't understand this, but it is still our
Wow.
duty to be compassionate and have empathy
Mm-hmm.
for people, and just don't look down on them
Wow.
because you don't know why they're home. You don't know what happened. I spoke to a lady that her husband, after 40 years, which means this lady was up in age, she just kicked her out. Kicked her
Out
out.
of nowhere.
Never put her name on the house.
Oh wow.
And she had no job, hadn't worked in 45 years. You know,
Wow.
she was a homemaker. She was at home, so she ended up being homeless.
Yeah,
You
and they leave
never
you
know.
at square one.
Right. You never know a person's
Yeah.
situation.
That's deep. And it is always the stereotypes. That's exactly why we speak out,
Mhm.
because where you think is cookie cutter, becoming homeless is never a cookie cutter situation. Is never really the stereotypical thing that happens. So yeah, you gotta just think about the various ways and never try to judge a book by its cover,
That's
because
right.
you never know how a person got there,
Right.
what the steps were,
That's true.
and it could be something simple, it
Yeah.
could be a mistake, it could be anything. And sometimes people want to stay outside.
Mhm.
There are some people like that. I talk about nomadic people all the time. Um, and that's what I do talk about a lot, the underserved
Right.
and people, the topics, and I guess the what do you call that? Like the different blocks of people
Mhm.
that you wouldn't think about.
Yes.
And so I want to bring awareness to that. And my situation was a large family that is an intact family, and you often don't hear about intact families because of things like back in the day we heard of like COINTELPRO and all the different ways that the system tried to dismantle families. That is nothing new under the sun that happens, but I think the people have been, like you said, waking up and persevering. It's a word, resilience, that a lot of people don't like to use, but it is in fact a strong word to be resilient. Because through a lot of the things that's why my particular lived expertise, and I know other people have major stories that need to be told too. That's why we started this podcast and radio show too, to bring that awareness. But my situation, it never was a cookie cutter situation, and I had to go through it in order to be able to help anybody. And I call it an enhanced asset is what it is. Because we know something going through the system different from a different set of islands, if you will. But I did want to say hello to the people that have been telling us hey on the live. Very much so. Thank y'all for tuning in. And just if you have any comments or questions or anything, please put them in the comments. I'm trying to watch it while we're live as well. But yeah, and I heard something on the news within the past couple of days about Southern California. And so the mayor there, he was making a statement of how he wanted to purge the homeless, which I'm very uh I'd say kind of shocked to hear this from California because I've always looked at them as very ahead of the curve and kind of dealing with homelessness with just the solutions that they try to allow. But with this statement, it kind of threw me aback to hear. But he was saying how he or she, I don't know what gender the person is, but they were saying how they wanted to give Fenty to everybody, and that's for people that don't know, opioid fentanyl. So people are trying to struggle to live their lives, I think, beyond any addiction. So to offer it up to the people, and we've heard stories like that from our people here, how they felt that the homeless people should just be lined up and eradicated. That type of thing is kind of to what you said earlier, how people treat people without that compassion and that empathy. I just I say that to say how you treat those people, I just could never relate. I view them as jewels, and I'm the type of leader that not only will sit on the ground with them and, whatever environment that they're in, we're a purpose to be able to be there. And it's kind of like how you explain, I have a testimony where people have a testimony no matter what their background
no
is.
matter what the background of whoever
So,
they are, and then understanding their stories. That's the thing.
That's it.
We have to get the story out there so they can, let a person there. For me, I worked with the Department of Human Services for 34 years, but they retired me with 36 because I never took no days out. I didn't take no vacation. I went to work even when I was sick.
Wow.
And so for like maybe 5 or 6 years, I did pretty good.
That's good.
Because I had worked long enough to get a pension and Social Security. But then things began to take a turn.
Yes, ma'am.
And I had to come out of retirement. And I've had to work whatever type of job I can get. It didn't matter what it was. And I'm at a point now, I'm just grateful for anything.
Yes, ma'am.
It doesn't matter how small it is or how big it is.
Yes.
You just, it humbles you. It makes you see that you can just be a step away from being homeless yourself.
Yes,
so, I can understand, I can relate to how so many of them have been. I thought once I retired that I would be kind of able to sit back and just relax,
as you should.
But I'm not able to do that.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm having to do work that I never thought I would have to do.
Yes, ma'am. And
I'm
you shouldn't have
to be laughed at. I'm having to be pointed at. You doing that and you doing that, but you have to survive.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
But I also know they're gonna always be like that.
Amen.
I didn't fold. I'm just doing the best I can.
Yes, ma'am. What you got?
Yep. People they don't see that part. They just see the fact that hey, she worked for 34 years, retired with 36. She's doing good now.
Yeah.
But not always necessary.
They make that assumption.
To come out of retirement because I was on the verge of losing everything.
Yep.
So whenever somebody helps me or give me something, I am so grateful. And when I say I don't have it, I really don't have it.
Yes, ma'am.
I know what it is to walk by somebody's house and smell something cooking good. And you know that you can't have it because you don't have the funds to buy that kind of food.
Yes, ma'am.
I can pass by a bakery. I love pound cake.
Yes, ma'am.
I can pass by a bakery and just think of the times that I would have a pound cake. That's one of my favorites. People don't always understand the struggle, but I do.
Yes,
so if I see a homeless person looking in the window, I understand. I understand how they look at you when they see you eating a Subway sandwich and they don't have anything.
Yes, ma'am.
And I am so grateful that I have come to the part where I said, you want to have for my sandwich?
Amen.
Here, take this.
Break your bread.
I know how it feels. I know how it feels to lose everything that you got. People don't know the struggle you have paying your bills.
Yes.
Or if they get paid on time.
Yes,
that's a struggle that a lot of people go through, but you don't know it.
Yep.
Because great is he that is in me than he that's in
the world. Yes,
and
ma'am.
you know that you are overcomer And you have to be a warrior and fight this battle spiritually.
Yes, ma'am.
And when you're fighting that battle, you know that's not going to always be there. But I'm telling you, it's one of the most humble experience that you can have. Not that people that have this is not humble.
Yeah.
You don't know what a person had to go through to get what they got.
Yeah.
But it's just a reflection on be careful.
Yeah.
When you put down, be
Yeah.
careful thinking you're much better. Because tomorrow could take another turn. And a lot of times it's not the turn that you think it's going to be.
No.
It could be worse than what you could have ever mastered.
Yeah. I
Imagine.
listen. Yes,
the word I
ma'am.
want to say. Imagine.
It's okay. We understood what you meant.
You know.
So I heard so much when you were speaking, Miss Charzette, I'm sorry. And I heard able-bodied. I heard elderly, and we need to take way better care of our elderly. It's a model of housing that I was listening to from Austin, Texas about elderly, and then they had families mixed in the building.
Right.
Where the elderly could help take care of the babies that are there. And to me, that's a revitalization of life. So I want to see stuff like that out in the community. Then people making assumptions, calling your pockets and such. You cannot do that, because I was thinking about that earlier, and as I was getting here, I love to walk, and it helps me think and clear my mind.
Right.
I'm grateful to be able to walk, right? So I was thinking about how people can feel like you dress or that you have nice things. And I was thinking, like, everything that I got, the Lord has given to me.
All right.
Like, not a dime. And I was thinking about how in the midst of all that's happening with my family, and we all know that my coach started GoFundMe for me, and I have a petition out there as well. But in all of that, I remember at the apartment before we moved having a $5 NES bill, and I know that wasn't up for God in the midst of it with no money, and He took care of what concerned myself and my husband, my family.
Right.
He has taken care of us every step of the way in the midst of it, in the turmoil of it. However, the enemy tried to turn it upside down. It was joy in the morning that the Lord brought, and I always lean and depend on Him in that way. So you can never assume what people have is because of worldly things, like you said. And then I heard the least of these. We both said something about the least of these, how people can look a certain kind of way or whatever the case is. You don't never know when you entertaining an angel unaware. So you gotta be careful. And what I call that, Miss Charzetta, when you kind of judge people and don't worry about your own situation and lane.
That's right.
I call that the speck and the plank syndrome. Is what I call that. And I always recognize when somebody's in that space and place. But and also spiritual battles, that's huge. Again, the ones that are full of valuables, the enemy will come to try to tear you apart, like how Job was. He had permission to come in from God, and he knew that Job would not curse him and die like his wife wanted him to. So it's being kingdom and not of this world. It's the whole point.
Building. And I can remember I could go into Kroger's or Publix and not worry about how much something costs. I could just put it in the basket.
Yes.
But now I do the great value.
You have to be conscious.
Whatever it is. I remember I was at the store Depot yesterday getting something. And I think it ringed up to $20-some. And I did have the $20-some. But something in me said, you got all that change in the bottom of your pocket.
Yes.
Girl, I started pulling out pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters.
Everybody.
And my bill went from 21 something down to $14.
Okay.
Because I had saved up change. I just throw it in my pocketbook. That's a blessing. That is a blessing.
To even find the change.
Which means I was able to do something else with what was left. But I'm just using that as an example, And people like her, but why she keep putting that change in there? Hurry up so I can get my stuff.
No,
But you just continue to do what you got to
yes,
do because
ma'am.
they don't know your story.
No,
They
ma'am.
don't know
Oh,
your story.
that's one of my favorite
Mhm,
songs, Miss Shazetta. It says you don't know my story. I know it's by
mhm,
John P. Key. I'm gonna have to
mhm.
find the name of that
Yeah.
song, but that Life in Favor, that's the name of the
Oh,
song.
okay. Okay.
Oh God, that is one of my favorite
Mhm,
songs. But when if I was listening to what you said earlier too,
uh-huh.
and on giving, if we have it, I'm a person that loves to give to
Gotcha.
others,
Mhm.
and I love to, whatever the case is about
That's
giving, I
right.
love to when I have it. And just like you said, having to get your change together and count.
Yeah.
I remember a story of a man.
Mhm.
I know he worked out his life, but he collected all the change, especially
Right.
even the brown,
Mhm.
the pennies,
Oh, yeah.
and he ended up being a millionaire by the
Mhm.
time
By
he
the
was
time you
ready to
got
stop.
through.
But
Mhm.
keeping that change, and most times you see people, they'll just throw it down and not
Uh-huh.
regard a
Mhm.
penny, but that adds up.
It adds up. If I see a penny on the ground and
Yeah.
I didn't see nobody drop it, I'm gonna pick that penny up.
Yes, ma'am.
Because that penny will add up.
Yes, ma'am. That has happened to me before, Miss Charzette. I was downtown. This was back when
Mhm.
my babies was in Pampers,
Mhm.
and I had prayed to God. And this is before I knew Him like I do now.
Mhm.
But it was in a small faith. I wouldn't say it was in such a large faith that I have
Mhm.
now again. But I was praying for diapers, and
Mhm.
like you said, nobody was to be found, and it was downtown when the bus station was still where it used to be, and
Right.
not
Right.
Wego where it is.
Mhm.
So amongst that street, I'm just walking along, and $40 blew past me. That was supernatural, because I was like, I looked around and I couldn't find one person. All I seen was the leaves twirling
Mhm.
right there where the
Right.
where the money blew from. I was like, Jesus.
And not only that, you got that right because I was at Walmart getting some groceries or something, and I was counting my money and stuff.
Yeah.
And the gentleman behind me said, "Put her on my tab.
Wow.
I'm paying for her."
Yes.
I didn't know that man didn't know who I was. He said, "Don't worry about it, man. I got you. I just want to do something to help somebody." I said, "Thank
Blessings.
you for coming right along helping me." So,
And you be thanking Lord,
yeah,
how I'm gonna do
yeah.
this,
But
and He be
he
taking
blesses
care of
us
it.
in different ways,
Yes.
and you just be so grateful. Lets
Yes.
me know that if somebody can do that for me,
Wow.
I can do it for
Pay it
somebody
forward.
else.
Yes, ma'am.
Keep it going.
And then most
Mhm.
times when that happens, Miss Charzette, and that's kind of what I think the person was telling me
Mhm.
earlier about self-interest.
Right.
When somebody is trying to help you, allow them to do
Allow
so.
them
And
to
I
do
really
so.
have a problem
Mhm.
with that.
Allow
I
them to
really,
do it.
really
Mhm.
the fact that people been helping with this move, people have uh, blessed me with a cellular device and
Mhm.
started the GoFundMe for me. And then
Mhm.
my coach, she came back and she has a special right now for her services for $97.
Mhm.
But I call it sowing into good ground,
Mhm.
because several of my friends have told me that
Mhm.
they wanted to sow into good ground and pour into me in this time that's hard right
Mhm.
now.
Oh
But
yeah.
uh, just being able to have those people that support and they're also kingdom, it means so much. And again, I would not be the one to ask, and they asked me if they could ask.
And that's the thing. I'm the
That's so
same way. I
powerful.
just don't ask. But
Yeah.
people would never know. I just don't ask.
Yeah.
But I'm realizing that if somebody wants to bless me, I'm going to
We
accept
need
the
to let
blessing.
them. Yep.
Yes, you need to let
And then exactly to what you just said,
them.
ask and you shall receive too.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, ask and you shall
That's
receive,
right.
because God is looking and probably waiting for us to just open our mouths
Mhm.
up and ask, and even just talk to Him is huge. Because I know for a long time when I say my coach, how uh Coach Kenyatta Tidwell,
Mhm.
please go find her online, because like I said, she's offering a special right now. And
Uh-huh.
it's just, it's the same thing you said earlier about starting off with prayer,
Mhm.
because I was looking for the longest for a mentor, and I was praying, God, why you won't let me have a mentor? And
Mhm.
it just was that much of a search for a person
Right.
that
Mhm.
I realized it was just me and God. Rolled it to the wheels, fell off until it's exactly going into what I was talking about, my pastor teaching, right? And going into the story of Exodus is right where I found Coach Kenyatta. And so with that story, it's so deep. And I knew she was the coach because guess what she did, Miss Charzetta? This is gonna blow your mind. First thing she did was pray.
That's it. Prayer is a key.
Yep, prayer.
Prayer is a key.
And you just said like starting to show off with prayer, starting this. I knew she was the one because of that. And what she did was just simply listen to me, and she did a build out of everything I said. And she listened with active listening because she captured every single thing I was saying, no matter how jumbled up it could have been or how much of parables I speak in. She overstood the assignment. And so what went into that, I did have a nonprofit before, and this was 2020 when we started working together. But I was working on this while homeless. In the midst of being homeless, I think about a year into us being homeless, and you know about this. I was here at the radio station, and later on that day, I was here by myself. In October the 5th, 2020, my baby brother was murdered that evening. And so in the midst of that, me and Coach Kenyatta kept on working.
Right.
She let me cry. She let me get snot nose. She let me sing. She let me whatever it was to get it out, to keep on working. And so in the midst of keep on working on it and the nonprofit, I ended up dissolving it later when my mom passed away, exactly because she was doing my CPA work.
Right.
But I say that to say how beautifully Coach built the package was. I had an exit plan for the nonprofit, which I don't even know if she knew she built it that good, where I still had, because I had 4 different pillars that I was working with anyway. So I kept innovative job solutions. And that's what I have now today, the for-profit. But I have struggles there, like a disadvantaged business, enterprise type of business, but that's what remains, and I want to do with it workforce development to end homelessness is what that is. So whatever that looks like for the people coming into contact with me to build sustainability amongst themselves out of their own talents and purpose, right? So that's some of the things we're already doing together as a community, separate, autonomously. That means on your own. So that relationship right there and her being my coach, it was meant to be. And it was actually talking about poverty because it was the pandemic. You remember the stimuluses we got? And that was the only way I could pay. I think she was having a special then maybe, or whatever the cost was to come in, but I was so proud to pay that.
And the good thing about it,
oh my gosh,
what you're just saying, just because we go through a struggle of something, you don't fold.
No,
you just don't sit down and just say, I just give up.
Amen.
You keep on.
That's huge.
You keep on.
Wow.
Don't ever just stop, regardless of what you're going through. Because see, sometimes the Supreme God, what happens, He'll put you sometimes in a situation that you don't have nobody to call on.
Amen.
But that you just have to call on Him. Ooh. All your trust and faith has to go into that.
Yes.
And then He can bring you out, because what happens is we have to surrender.
Oh yeah, that's huge. Surrender
and give it to Him. That changes things. So we don't give up doing what we're doing just because things
get hard,
turn out or get hard or
yes.
I continue to do what I'm doing, like Faith Walk. Yes. I continue to be a part of that program, Faith Walk, and not walk away from it, but mainly walk into it has been like an awakening for me.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, I'm not as blind as I used to be.
Yes.
Because I realize sometimes things are just things. That's all they are.
Material.
A lot of times material things are just things.
Yes, ma'am.
And sometimes you might have to end up losing them
to appreciate it.
God can turn back around and give you something more,
More.
than what you already
Every
had.
time he do
Mhm.
more, because I remember and you still see what's to come and in the future of what he gives. But I remember losing places, but each time he blessed me with more rooms, or just I don't know, he'll always multiply it. And it's, I feel like, built-in increase. So just very grateful to see the whole journey. And you gotta, though it may come off as sounding like complaints or negative or anything like that, it's not that. I think it's just really giving that testimony and being able for other people to see you made it through. That's right. And that you got out. And it's faith. And you can. It's your faith. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I got my house 27 years ago, and I be 28 years ago, and I knew I wanted to get a house, but I didn't have the money to get a house. Yeah, I remember. But sometimes you do stupid things, which I thought was stupid at the time, but I went and signed up so I could buy a house. Yeah. Now, I didn't know how my credit was or anything. I went to the bank and the bank turned me down, but then the lady called me back into the bank and she gave me the number of a broker. She said, I want you to call it. That broker worked with me. I was able to get a house that was being built from the ground up. Yes, ma'am. Brand new house at the time. Boy, folks like, girl, you ain't gonna get that house. You dreaming. That ain't gonna happen to you. They try to sow the seeds. We'll just see. But I kept on. And the day came to close on that house. And I met the builder of the house that day. He wanted me to come and look at the house, see everything he had done. But he asked me, he said, are you okay? And I was like, before I could say anything, he said, I'm going to do a cashier check so you'll have all your money to put down and you can pay me back. That man never wanted me to pay him back, but I did. And when I called and I told him, I said, you never did get your money back off the bank. I said, it's still sitting in my bank. He said, Miss Hall, I forgot to give. Wow. And that's like 2 months ago. I said, I've been waiting on you to get in, wait. But that was a blessing. Wow. Because ordinarily people don't do that. They just don't do that. But this man's heart was touched. And he said, no, I built this house for you. The spirit told me this was your house. And I've been in that house now. Maybe it is 20 years. Wow. And everything like that. But that was faith. It's still people like that. No matter what this world looks like, it's people out there that are meant to be kingdom. And matter of fact, when you say waking up, that's how all of us are finding each other. And I've been feeling a calm, to be honest, more so than ever. And I think that's the peace that surpasses all understanding. Though you have to fight and be a warrior, it does not mean that you cannot have that soft and warm heart in the background, still for other humans. I think that is something that, and it's biblical too, where you hear about like Pharaoh and his hardened heart and that type of thing. So we all know that is of a great divide, and that's trying to sow seeds of discord, but it can't prevail over victory. Right. So just leaning into the victory and knowing who God is. And matter of fact, saying I just thought about this, and God is so just amazing at bringing things back to your remembrance. But this Sunday, we sung "He Knows My Name," and so saying "I know who I am" is saying the same thing, that God knows my name. And that's something just so huge, right, to know and be able to rest into. That you truly belong to Him. That's another song we sung too. So just, I don't know, I'm very ecstatic about what is to come, no matter what it looks like. I appreciate the 7 people that donated to the fund, and it is going to go into planting other seeds that will, bring our family forward. And I don't know. It's sold in the good ground. Let me say that. It is totally sold in the good ground, just like others pointed out to me. and they had to make sure I knew that myself, and because we'll just, sometimes we need to know.
We need to
And
know, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
that you're going in the right direction, and that you're not going against the grain of what the Lord is doing, because I don't never want to be in that place
Right.
where you just going against what his will is.
Right.
His
And I
will
think
be
it's
done.
so important when things like that happens to us
Mhm.
because we got to do it the right way. We
Yes,
can't be
his
frauds. We
way.
can't be fooling people and
Thank you.
stuff like that. We have to know that we're doing everything right that
By
we're
God.
supposed to be doing
Wow.
so that our blessings can come
Mhm.
according to his will. And
Mhm.
that's the thing that we have to continue to do
Yes,
because, see, it's not our will, but
it's
it's
his will be
and
done.
what he has for us.
Yes,
Where does the thought come from? It has to come from your mind. The
yes.
battlefield of the mind is right here in our head.
Wow. They
So
talked about that some.
everything starts with your mind and your thinking. I mean, God had to put it on my mind to get a house.
Yes,
And
to
it
even
just wasn't
face.
something I just came up with.
Mm-hmm.
This was put on my heart, it put on my mind.
Wow.
And so when doubt comes in, I have
Don't
to
let
tell
it.
this doubt, you got to go away.
Cast it
You
down.
have
Yes,
no
ma'am.
place here. You cannot live in here. You have got to go.
That says a
Got
lot.
to go.
Yes, ma'am. It gives a fresh perspective,
Mhm.
and it goes back to exactly what we talked about Sunday, that mental health. I am a survivor of suicide. I told on, like I said, Jenny's podcast about how to heal, where from age 8 to 39, I dealt with the spirit of suicide. I remember one time I was by myself downstairs in one of the rooms in one of the 5 bedrooms that we 5 bedroom home we had. And the way it was set up, it was 3 bedrooms upstairs with a bathroom. Then you would go downstairs and it was 2 bedrooms and then a bathroom, laundry room, and kind of a living room. And I went in one of them rooms I have never really been in, and it was for like, it wasn't really for the kids or necessarily. It was really 2 guest rooms, to be honest. But I went down in the room, it had a bed in there, and I laid down with a knife. And I had no intentions. I was not sad. It just went bed with a really sharp knife. And so I was down there, and the intention was for me to be down there by myself to whatever, I'm not gonna say that here, but and not be found for a while. And the devil was a whole lie. I had to cast it down, giving no permission, but just knowing to be a survivor of that and why that attempt was made, it gives you a fresh perspective on that the enemy does not come but to steal from vaults that are very valuable and full.
And those doubts come up.
Yeah,
They
you
come
had to
up
battle
here,
it.
they'll tell you you're not worth this.
Everything.
And I will tell you something. There are people that have chemical imbalance.
Yes, we talked about that too.
And it is
Medication.
people, that have to be, on
Yes.
They don't want to be that way, but they're on it.
Yes.
But
That's true.
you even got some of the most people that feels like they're so spiritual.
Yeah.
And then you hear about them killing themselves, killing the wife or killing the husband and stuff, and you're like, how could
Double.
this be?
Yep.
Yeah, it starts with the mind, just like
Yep.
when you go through an awakening period.
Mm-hmm.
When I was going through my awakening,
Yes.
and I began to realize some of the big lies that
That's
came out of
huge.
Christianity.
Yes,
that came out of
ma'am.
religion.
We unlearn.
I said, all my life I was taught
Wow.
this way, but
Yep.
as you grow older, you see, wait a minute.
That's huge. That's
Did
right
I
now.
have power?
Mm. To even believe, and it is not a naivety. It's just we simply didn't know.
And that's the thing. It comes
Yeah.
from our forefathers that's been handed down,
Yep.
handed down, and handed down.
Yep.
But the best thing that can happen to you is to start thinking
Yes. For
keep
yourself.
thinking and asking questions.
That's good.
And that opened up big old doors
Mhm.
to us as we live in this life today.
I know we got like 6 minutes left. But exactly what you said, when I came into the church with Pastor, and that's where I got delivered from that spirit. It started out in speaking of earth angels, it was some women at the church when I first got there. I might have been like 24 years old, like I said, and they had me to swallow some anointing oil, and that was a part of my deliverance. And I started to change from there. Like just being awakened, like you said, and it started to put me on a path where I could think for myself. And also, the first thing I heard Pastor say was, "You better get to know God for yourself and come as you are." And that was a part of that awakening out of the religion part for me, growing up in religion. So,
Yeah, I had to step away from that. But
mhm,
here's the thing too. Uh, when a person begins to wake up,
yes,
something happens in your mind. It's like a turning wheel.
each
I
level.
was told, and let's see, I'm 69 now, we'll be 70. I might have been in my 40s, late 40s or early 50s, that I had praying hands and that I could lay my
Wow.
hands on people.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
healing.
one night I was sitting in the house thinking, I said, now wait a minute.
Mm.
I can't even get my knee right. I'm going to pray for somebody in my knee. I should be able to pray for
Touch
myself.
my own
And
self.
then I get to realize,
Yep.
no, you do not have that. You do not have that. I did not have it.
Wow.
You know, I have to have faith.
Yep.
I just can't go lay my hands on somebody and be healed. No, 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 no,
You gotta
no.
have
I
faith in the
cannot do
first
that.
place.
I wasn't called in that area.
Mm.
You know, the pastor wanted me to go through the church, slaying my hand on people, but it didn't
It's
work
more
like that.
tradition
It's a
than, yeah,
tradition,
yeah. I
and
get exactly
I
what you're
had to
saying.
get away.
Yeah.
I had to get away, and I'm at more peace now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at peace.
Yeah, because your gifts are your gifts,
And
and
the
it's yeah.
worst thing that we don't understand is that reading the Bible and all
Mm-hmm.
that, you got to go back into the history.
Yep.
You got to go back to see how everything was started and it
Yep.
came.
Nothing new
And
under
I
the
had to
sun.
learn that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the biggest awakening that I could ever.
Yes.
Because you need to know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I don't want to just say something and I don't know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Definitely
I
not
have to
that.
know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I had to look back over some stuff and,
Mm.
you know,
Reflect.
reflect on some
Mm-hmm.
things, you know. And that was the biggest awakening for me,
That's
you
huge.
know, knowing who I am
Mm-hmm.
and what I'm about, but remembering,
Yeah.
you know, what I'm to be
Yes,
and what I'm
ma'am. That
supposed to be,
purpose.
you know, that purpose
Yep.
and the journey that we are on for God. You know,
Mm-hmm.
He got us on a journey as
Yep.
we go through here and then accepting His will,
Mm.
accepting the will of God and not our will.
Yep.
I had to realize that our thoughts are not His thoughts are not our thoughts,
Yep.
you know.
His
And
timing and all
I
that.
had to tell myself, is this just my mind talking?
Mm.
Is this just my opinion talking?
Yep.
You know,
You
I had
gotta know.
got to come to a conclusion.
Absolutely.
And that's the reason I said you have to study.
Yeah.
Got to
Show
study to
yourself
show
approved.
yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Mhm.
That's awesome. And we were still talking about, I feel like, in the realm of housing, but
Mhm.
the topic of today's show was we know who we are. So it just goes in depth about, that spiritual level, and getting into your kingdom purpose and place
Right.
is hugely about ending homelessness and
Mhm.
getting people in their own places that they belong, um, in, that are permanent structures, and
Mhm.
not, that cycle of breaking. And we
Mhm.
want to lean into generational blessings
Mhm.
and not those
That's
curses,
right.
breaking those off of people. It's kind of a movie that came across my mind while we were talking, is RIPD. And it's something that I kind of watch to kind of see how those different realms and stuff work spiritually. And one of the things I love about that movie was in the spiritual realm, one of the characters had a banana, and that was a gun, like a laser gun in the spirit. So it don't make sense at all, but at the same time, that's kind of how it is, trying to kind of find your way. It ain't gonna make sense, but if you lean into God, it's one of those blind faith type of things where you walking right in his footsteps. And that's full circle back to where we were when we began walking in his footsteps, and in his footprints. So I'm gonna end right there, and y'all have a blessed Tuesday and the rest of the week. We will see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
This is WVOL, Berry Hill, Nashville.